Hello. Coming to you late on a Wednesday evening. Just got back from a meeting. Get on here and have a chat with you guys. Smoking in my Rattray's The Good Deal. Some Philosopher from Ed, the Armchair Piper. What a great guy. I don't know if you guys saw his video. He posted probably no more than a week ago. He said that he was looking to give a little something to the YTPC, and anybody who said, please send me some. He was going to send a sample of one of his most favorite tobacco blends. Sorry, I got a hair in my mouth. Now, I've been packing this pipe a little light lately, experimenting a little bit, and it seems to be working out quite well for me. The only problem is that I have to tamp repeatedly, and after you get that charring light, and then even after you get that initial light, there's a couple times where I have to relight a bit, but get to a point where it's just perfect, and it really seems to accentuate whatever I happen to be smoking, specifically this one, and it is very good. I won't read you the blurb. For what's in it, but it's in English. Very good English. I had a bowl of this last night for the first time, and it was very good. It made me drool something awful, though. I think it must be either because of the Virginias or the Orientals, but there's something very tangy there, and that tangy flavor really just gets all that juices going there. But since I smoke mostly filtered, I don't have to worry about it getting into the bowl, but I do have to clean the stem out quite a bit with this. But oh man, it is good. I mean, I think if a tobacco makes you drool a little bit, I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing. So I will be ordering some more of this, Ed. Now, try not to get too excited. This is only my second bowl. I tend to do that. I get a little excited sometimes about stuff, and I have a knee-jerk reaction, especially when it comes to blends that I'm trying. But gonna give this one another light. But a couple things I wanted to talk about, besides that wonderful gift from Ed and how delicious it is, and how I'm going to give it a little bit more time before I jump the gun and buy. I think the minimum order you can make is half a pound. So I'm going to behave. But there was a couple things I wanted to talk about. One is I got a new pipe. Mike, old man thinks, the pipe arrived. I didn't get to it until just now, so I didn't send you any pictures, so you might be seeing it with everybody else for the first time. But I got my second Peterson, which I'm pretty excited about. So I'm going to do that, that little reveal here. Now, so it is a Army mount, bent, of course, and I believe this bowl shape is a Rhodesian, and it is a 9mm filtered pipe, which is my preference. And the model is Army 999. And guys probably can't see that there. I'm sorry the lighting is so poor right now. It's 8:30 at night, and since the time change, it's been dark by 6. So you gotta bear with me. I've got almost all the lights on, and I got almost all the lights on, but I don't think that made it any better. But anyways, trust me, I love it. It's got a fantastic finish on it. I like this sandblasted look. Pre-carbonized bowl, which I've really learned to appreciate, because to me anyways, it really does cut down on that break-in time that you have to have with some pipes. For example, you know, I've shown you guys this before. This is my Rattray Monarch, and this bowl was uncarbonized at purchase, and it's taken some time to break in. Not quite there yet. I think I find that to be probably my least favorite thing when it comes to getting a new pipe, is that break-in period, and it's just all part of it. I mean, and in some way I appreciate it anyways, because you know, I know what it's going to do, what the results are going to be in the end. Possibly after this though, might have a go in the Peterson, or I might wait. I don't know yet. But the last thing I wanted to mention to you guys is our brother N.W. Piper. I think that's what Northwest Piper. Oh shoot. I always get N.W. Piper and is it Northwest Piper? Oh, dang it. I should have looked that up. Anyways, one of our brothers who resides in the Pacific Northwest, specifically I think Washington, has been doing a few readings of old mining stories from that area. Some of them range from, you know, late 1800s, early 1900s through the Depression, even up until, I think one of the last ones he mentioned in his video earlier this week was sometime in the 70s. Anyways, it's been a wonderful series of videos that he did, and all he did was smoke a pipe and read from a book. Now, that got me thinking about where I live, and technically we're in the Pacific Northwest, but we're kind of a different climate altogether. We're more high desert, even though I know Oregon and Washington have that high desert, but when I think of the Pacific Northwest, you know, I'm thinking of the Oregon coast, those temperate rainforests, the heavy snowfalls, and that's just something that we just don't get here. And now, if you were to take the current state line boundaries, get rid of them, you could probably, at least in the southwestern part of the state that I live in, you could tell very little difference from most of Utah, Wyoming, eastern Oregon, southern Montana, all that, of course. But it also has a very rich history, and it reminded me of a book that my grandfather gave to me several years before he passed. And I've read through it several times, and it has a lot of really interesting stories about the OIM corner. So it's that corner where Oregon, Idaho, OIM. The Hawaii. Oh, no. OIN. So Idaho, Oregon, Nevada. The Corners Meetup. And it is known as the greater Owyhee area because it has the Owyhee Mountains and has a very similar climate. Now, parts of where I live is considered part of that area. And what we have is a very rich history when it came to migrants moving west, because the Oregon Trail moved through Idaho into Oregon, of course. But also, not only was it kind of that place that people moved through going somewhere else, but there was also a lot of history that happened in those areas. People who staked a claim, didn't make it all the way to Oregon, found something else, maybe something better. A lot of mining happened here. We have a lot of very famous mining towns like Silver City, and there's a lot of interaction with the Indians at that time. There was part, it was the Indian Wars occurred. A lot of mining stories, a lot of cattle rancher stories, cowboys, everything that you can imagine from the Old West. Idaho had a part in that. It had a little bit of all of that, and that corner, the OIN corner, is also considered like the forgotten corner of the West. So when you see big movies, about the Old West, and you read Louis L'Amour books, you're looking at, places like Tucson, Tombstone, Dodge City, places like that. But we had some of that history and that action, those things that live now in folklore happen here as well. And what this book does, and I'll show it to you guys, it's called Owyhee Trails, The West's Forgotten Corner. And this is by Mike Henley with Ellis Ushia. Now, the Hanley family, though unbeknownst to me before I received this book, was kind of well known in the Jordan Valley area, which is in southeastern Oregon, for being one of the first families to start raising cattle in the area. And they took part in a lot of the history that happened throughout the years in this area. Anyways, so what I might be doing is I might be doing something similar. Maybe I'll go through some of these Old West stories that happened just in my backyard to you guys, and kind of see how it goes. Something that I find to be pretty fascinating and also entertaining. So maybe in the next video I will be doing that. There was one, just to give you guys a taste, if I could find it. I mean, for example, there's a story in here called The Legend of Bigfoot. Now, it might not be exactly what you're thinking, but it also might just be. But there's one specifically that I wanted to read to you guys if I decided to do this. And let me know if you guys think that's something you might be interested in. And if you say you're not interested in it, I might just do it anyways, because that's just how I'm going to do things, maybe. There's a chapter here called Poor Food and Tough Horses. The cattlemen held sway over the rangelands of southeastern Oregon for only about 10 years, from 1870 to 1880. Of course, they were a power long afterward, but by the end of that single decade, people were turning their eyes from the uncertainties of the mines to the rich grasslands which were opening for homesteading. A renewed outbreak by the Indians, the last great stand by the red man. Not politically correct. But this book was also written in the 70s. But badly battered the ranches and broke some of them. But it was the constant pressure of homesteading that changed the way of life forever in this sprawling range country. So, little taste there. I'm going to finish this pipe. I'm going to jar this up. I'm going to label some other things that I have going on here. And then I am going to bed. So, without further ado, good night, guys.